So on another episode, Rich Paul further elaborated on the Baxter Holmes article that sort of shook up the algorithms, and he further elaborated on the whole LeBron James contacted the Lakers ever since 2017. That probably threw Cleveland fans into a spin cycle, but at the end of the day, make no mistake about it, that Midwest region, LeBron James understands he'll need their support when it comes to upholding his legacy. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
Rich, you are in the news a lot this week.
I'm not in the news.
You
That's
are
not true.
in the
That is
Google
not true.
your name. You are in the news. First of
Let
all,
me guess. Sources
that?
says.
Yes, sources.
Okay.
Sources, yes. Let me say something. On Wednesday on the pod, you said at a certain point we were talking about an article, and you said, Max, you haven't read the article, because I was using it as a jumping off point to talk about the Lakers and how things were and how LeBron changed it and all this stuff. And also, and really about the Buss family and how, you know, my whole theory about Dr. Buss left the team to try to keep his family together. That's why he put them in all these positions, and it didn't work out. But part of the article was about LeBron James. And Rich, I read the article. It's not really about LeBron James. It really is an article about the Buss family. And in the middle of the article, they insert a little thing about there's like a little insert on LeBron James, which seems to me to be clickbait. So
It's definitely not clickbait. It's more of a response to your Cold War podcast with Rich Paul right here. Jeanie Buss, just like LeBron James, she's been at the game a lot longer, and she is PR savvy. In a way, she sort of devalued him a little bit, because the article let it be known that they were thinking about trading him to the Clippers, and there was a lot of reservations about even giving him an extension. So those issues lingering around since 2022, what does that really tell the rest of the owners in case LeBron James doesn't want to retire this season?
Here's what I say, and I want to close the door on this. It was a slow news cycle, man. Slow news week. The way business works is, you know, you had the Lakers playing the Clippers Thursday night. So there was no trades happening around the league. And this is an opportune time to drop this article that really had nothing to do with me or nothing to do with him. I mean, at the end of the day, what I will say is this. When we decided to come to LA, obviously, LJ made the choice. There was really nothing that said, hey, there's any pressure for us to do anything, right? Just came back from 3-1. Everyone seemed to think they knew why he was coming to LA. Every platform thought they had the reason why he was coming to LA, and he wanted to be the 6'9" Denzel Washington, which wasn't true. And you know, when you have someone like Magic who was in the seat, and you respect our legends, like I talked about the other day, and given to where when the decision was made to come, there was a lot of phone calls that I got, texts like, why, for different reasons. But we've always been people to block out the noise. We've always been people to focus on what's in front of us. And, if we say we're going to do something, we do it. And in this case, there was conversations had, and there was promises made. And I think those promises was made good on, despite what anybody had to say. There's Miss Mims, there's Gloria, there's Kathy, and there's Minerva. Those are the mothers of the four of us. And
when you say the four of us, who you're referring to?
Me, Mav, Brian, and Randy. And we were raised right. I'm never going to sit here and be disrespectful to nobody under no circumstance, regardless what was supposed to be said about anything. At the same time, because as you can see, I'm not sitting here with dentures. There's no dentine in front of me. Maybe a few implants, but not dentures. But the point is, for me, when you think about the relationship and when you think about how people like to have drama, that's just not who we are. And so it's not so much as about what somebody was supposed to have said. I base things on what people do and how I'm treated, regardless of what somebody ever had to say.
Are you referring to the Jeanie quotes in the article?
That I'm preferring to what they said
were not quotes, but like, what that
there
wasn't
were no
quotes. It was
right.
what was claimed that she said in the article.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
Come on, Rich. You know that article was heavily reviewed by ESPN, which is in a partnership with the NBA, before this article came out. So people within the Lakers brass were well aware, and so were you guys in a way, because once again, the same morning the article dropped, you guys dropped a very high quality edited podcast with your response.
I never felt that sentiment. Still
Rich.
don't feel that.
Rich, let me say something, okay? Because I was here before LeBron got to town. Before he got to town, I was here. LeBron, and I left, and then LeBron got there. But as I always tell you, I was there when KCP got to town, and the buzz in LA was, oh, does this mean that the groundwork is being laid for LeBron? And everyone was extremely excited. Like the idea that the Lakers would have a good relationship with Clutch, everyone was excited. The only people who hated a little bit were, like, there are Lakers fans and then there are strictly Kobe fans. And Kobe fans feel competitive with LeBron, and that's a whole separate dynamic. But let me tell you, LeBron got to LA, he turned the circus into a Broadway show. It was a circus before he got here, before he got to LA. I lived it. We were broadcast partners of the Lakers. I was at the games. I was in the locker room. Once, look, I was there for, okay, they had Dwight Howard. Like, I just want to take people back in their minds for a second to remember this story and what happened. As Dr. Buss bequeathed the team to his children, he passed it along, and then he passed, sadly, because I was a big Dr. Buss fan. The team had at one point Kobe Bryant, Pau Gasol, Dwight Howard, and Steve Nash, and there were big expectations. This was not far removed from their 3 trips to the finals with back-to-back championships. It's a couple of years removed, and they're going to get back at it, and they're going to be right there. Rich, they brought in D'Antoni. He was the wrong fit for the personnel. It got so bad that Kobe Bryant basically staged a mutiny. This is my interpretation of what happened, but dude, I was there. He basically staged a mutiny, wouldn't run D'Antoni's system because they weren't going to make the playoffs.
And that shit was trash, Max. Let's just keep it a buck. That shit was trash.
And Kobe willed them into the playoffs. He played himself. He refused to come out of games. He played himself 40-plus minutes a game for several weeks until they were a playoff team, and then his Achilles went. And when his Achilles went, remember, they undid the Chris Paul trade. Now it's Kobe, no Achilles. Jeanie handed him a $50 million contract for a year, and everyone's like, wait, what just happened? We were about to have cap space. But she was loyal to Kobe. She wanted to show, I think, signal to guys like you.
Now that right there goes back to the beginning of this segment, when her father told her, when you finally get the cards in the poker game, you got to go from 0 to 100. In that moment, with Kobe coming off that Achilles injury and the Lakers actually having cap space to go out there and get a different set of free agents, you gotta wonder if Dr. Buss would have kept Kobe around, because we've seen him have more high-priced players like Shaquille O'Neal relatively still in his prime and give him up. Kobe no doubt deserved the money, but that move right there, Laker fans do have to acknowledge, it did set the franchise back. That whole post-Dr. Buss era with Jeanie Buss at the helm.
If you have a client like LeBron James, this is the way we treat our own, right? She was trying to show people how the Lakers do it. But meantime, the team was not competitive. Not Kobe's last game, which was amazing, notwithstanding. He took all the shots. He couldn't move anymore. He had nothing around him. The team was awful. They couldn't attract free agents. Nothing. If you would have told a Lakers fan, a real Lakers fan at that moment, do you know LeBron James is going to be here? We would have lost our minds. We were hoping and praying that LeBron was like, oh my God, could you imagine? We'd have taken half of LeBron James.
Matter of fact, Max, you did get half of LeBron James. This is the weird part when he first arrived. Because remember, I think they had Lonzo Ball. They kind of had that young crew of players. Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram. LeBron James showed up in LA as a free agent, and they won 35 games the year before. Now, even though LeBron James did have a few injuries that season, they not only missed the playoffs, but they still won the same 35 games. Normally, the LeBron that we all know prior to could lift a shitty team all the way into the playoffs. So, what version of LeBron did the Lakers truly get? Yes, he was still effective and he had impact, but the days of him just putting everything on his shoulders and carrying a team, that version of LeBron was gone. And him alongside AD could get you to a championship. But the work that he used to put in before, like bringing that Cavaliers team without Kyrie Irving to the finals, that version of LeBron, yeah, they did not get.
You give me Jimmy Butler and someone else back then, and Lakers fan, but LeBron James? And then the fact that he got to town and won a championship. Like, it's unbelievable that is not perceived by anyone as anything less than a resounding success.
That's because Laker fans are used to success. That's the one thing that a lot of the LeBron James stans and just the Shannon Sharps, that faction of the media, don't understand. LA is not on some happy to be here shit. They're used to winning. Matter of fact, they're used to having some of the best players the NBA has ever seen wear their jerseys.
Yeah, and again, this is why like I said, I'm appreciative. I never got this sentiment that they were accusing something. And the reality of it is, all these articles are written and people go on their platforms and things like that. I think a lot of people use it as an opportunity to I'm going to say something that I always wanted to say or continue to pile on or whatever. But we don't come from that place. And
when you say we, who you're referring to?
I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about LJ. I'm talking about
Mav
our
and like
team. Yes.
The clutch team.
Well, they're not all clutch.
Right.
But I'm saying
the LeBron team.
Yeah. I play a role. We all play different roles in that regards. But we don't come from that place. When the decision was made to come, it came from a very authentic place. Hey, I want to live in the city. I want to play for this team, despite what anyone has to say. And the other thing is, I definitely believe in my ability to help any team, whether that's go out and get players that I represent or players that I don't represent. I'm a basketball mind at the end of the day. I'm a basketball mind. And anybody that's ever worked with me will tell you that. It's not just about players I represent. I can help.
But you would do this for other players if you have a player that you do represent on a given team,
yes,
or a team that player may wind up on.
Yes.
You would want to help facilitate that team getting better and fitting in with your player and your player fitting in with him so that the team gets better, because it's just better for everyone.
Because that's what really representation should be. I can't sit here and say, okay, we have and that goes for all players. And if you talk to any GM around the league, they'll tell you, Rich knows basketball. Rich is not just sugarcoating about his player or any other player. He wants to help us be better. Obviously, I don't have the decisions. And when you talk about power, if that was the case, if we had all this power, then Tyronn Lue would have been the head coach.
Interesting point that he brought up Tyronn Lue, because that's something that the media has accused the Lakers of being cheap about, not hiring him as a coach.
Even the Lakers right now are pretty good. They're scuffling, they're this, that. They're above 500. They have been without LeBron for a lot of the early part of the season. They have been without Austin Reeves recently. Luka's missed games here and there, and they're still above 500 in an extremely competitive conference.
Yeah, listen.
Even though LeBron's over 40 and they're still doing pretty good.
But I just want to help people understand how this stuff comes about. And it's so crazy. I forgot all about this. Article was brought to me 2 months ago, maybe more. I forgot all about it because I'm like, I'm not even, and this is the article? Like, okay, great. And when you talk about just how things work, this really had nothing to do with us per se. And I don't get into anybody's family issues. I think they have a billion of ways to figure it out. But I can only go by how I was treated and how we were treated. And that's been great. And it'll continue to be great. And I'll continue to go to I'm a basketball fan. I own seats. It's like, I think people get so obsessed with the drama of it all. And I'm like, listen, man, this is like the media circus of it all is like me riding the Space Mountain. It's like Media Mountain in the Disneyland of the NBA. But at the end of the day, all this is business. But the articles and things, it was just a slow news day.
Get
I
into
have
it.
this Steve Largent jersey on
See that?
because one thing Steve Largent did is he moved the chains. Let's move the chains.
Let's move
At
the
the end of
chains.
the day, we have been treated great. We will continue to be treated great. I am so happy that Jeanie was able to do what she done, and the value of the team went up, and they did the
Sold it
business
for $10
that they
billion.
did. And here's the thing, and what I'll close it on. As governor, she won the championship, right? With two guys leading the show. One name was LeBron James, the other name was Anthony Davis. That team also had 4 other clutch clients on that team. So it was 6 out of the 14, whatever the case may be. And we enjoyed ourselves in the bubble. We enjoyed that season, and they won.
If I were you, Rich, I would.
That is a beautiful thing. That's
If
a
I
beautiful
were
thing.
you, I would simply say, hey, you don't have to thank us, but a thank you would be appreciated. You're right. You're not making this up. And I saw it before you and I were really dealing with each other a lot, before we had any idea to do a pod together or a show together, before I was on First Take or anything like that. When I was in LA, I saw it from like that point of view. If anyone would have told us back then, hey, Clutch is going to help bring AD and LeBron to the Lakers, and it's going to result in a championship. If I were you, I'd be sitting there going, hey, a simple thank you would be appreciated.
Listen,
you don't have to, but
here's the
you know.
thing. I don't, Max, I don't need to thank you because I'm shown to thank you every time I walk in the building. It's not about what you say. It's about what you do. All this stuff comes down to how much of a tax are you actually willing to pay? I just saw Mark Lazary on a show the other day, and he said as an owner of a team, you have 2 choices to make. Do you want to make money, or do you want to win?
And Mark Cuban has said the same thing. Winning and making money is 2 different things in the NBA. Once again, Jeanie Buss trying to hold the Lakers up to that winning standard that her father had set. In today's NBA is an expensive and very complex task. She cannot hire guys like Rob Pelinka to make that happen. She's going to have the scouting department of a San Antonio Spurs, a Miami Heat, and also a shark of a GM to actually nail on the proper stars to surround those players with. There's barely any room for mistakes. Look at Luka Doncic. He has that 10-year Supermax contract coming up where he's going to make anywhere from $70 to $80 million plus a year. So right now we're about to see if the Lakers could become the first team in the NBA under these new rules to have a 10-year Supermax player and build around that guy while not trying to touch the second apron. So to have a winning formula, it's real complicated in today's NBA, and that's the standard that Jeanie understands with her owning the Lakers and just living up to her father's legacy. It was going to be very complex to have. The Buss family historically loves to hire internal people. And right now they are on the trajectory of success because Mark Walter is going to have that franchise in prime position to get the best of the best of just front office people in the scouting department, analytics, best medical staff, and just kind of restructure this whole Lakers organization to actually put them in a prime window of just being that same team in the 80s that can win consistently.
Those were his words, not mine.
Sure.
I've never owned a team. He has. And so for me in my position as the representation,
Joe Lacob wants to win.
Joe Lacob wants to win.
Joe Lacob wants to win. He'd love to make
Listen.
money, I'm sure, but he wants to win.
When the Cavaliers went on that 4-year run to the finals, Dan, I tip my hat to the man. He gladly paid the tax. But his team was winning. They were competing for a championship every year.
That right there does not get talked about enough. Even though Dan Gilbert is considered in a quote-unquote small market with the Cavaliers, he was paying that crazy luxury tax bill even 2 to 3 seasons after LeBron James left. I'm making reference to when LeBron James went to LA, not when he went to Miami. So that team with Tristan Thompson and Kevin Love after LeBron James left was paying crazy luxury tax bills. And who knows, maybe LeBron James from the outside looking in before joining the Lakers, he thought they would operate in the same manner, and he probably got inside the building and realized this is a mom and pop operation, and it's really not the case. Once again, the media narrative is that the Lakers were kind of being cheap about hiring Tyronn Lue.
I tip my hat to the man. He gladly paid the tax, but his team was winning. They were competing for a championship every year. Now, sometimes you can do that and not pay as big of a tax. But at the end of the day, all this is business.
And the business has been good for both Jeanie Buss and LeBron James. The Buss family was able to be in a position where they could sell the team for a crazy amount of money. And also LeBron James, his celebrity is actually 10 times bigger than what it was when he first arrived in LA. That LA market overall has allowed LeBron to extend and grow his media empire, partnering up with Turner Sports and also some multi-international production companies for exclusive rights to some of his behind the scenes coverage. And last but not least, we're going to hear from the man himself, Baxter Holmes, as this article on this Laker dynamic has been hitting the algorithms and causing up a stir. Baxter Holmes touched base on the LeBron dynamic that was sort of inserted into this article. Once again, this is a Cold War tactic right here by Jeanie Buss, as she's countering some of the noise that's coming from that Rich Paul podcast. And LeBron James understands that he is going to get a lot of arrows coming his way in his last year in LA. So why not jump ahead of it? And also, I'm going to say this. Jeanie Buss, as an NBA owner, might not be used to a player having this much power, especially over the media, than she has at this moment. I don't know if some of these celebrities are paying certain firms to be on Forbes's list, but the way the media puts the net worth of LeBron out there, I would say in the past couple years, it's a lot higher than each member of the Buss family. And we really never seen this before, where a current active player has a higher net worth than some of the owners of the team. I should say publicized net worth, because the way Forbes put El Chapo on that list, either they sent someone down there in Mexico to count that cash underneath the dirt, or that shit is pay for play.
In some years after their championship in 2020, and even after the Western Conference Finals in 2023, people in the organization described, seeing Jeanie sort of change and becoming more consumed with criticism of her or the organization, taking things personally and so on. And what those people said was, Jeanie had been known for in the past turning against people who had been important to the Lakers, important to her, whether it was Jerry West in the past, whether it was firing her own brother, Jim Buss, in 2017. So they had noticed a pattern, and they had seen also that pattern emerge more and more, especially by that time with LeBron James. But the framing of the tension with LeBron was more about Jeanie and a time period of seeing her, as people told me, change. And so that was the framework that we felt it was important to include. Look, people in the organization described like seeing Jeanie kind of change and also wondering if she had reached a tipping point, and that all of this, some of the things that you had just mentioned, does she just want to sell and get away from this? And ultimately, that's what happened. And I've had people ask me, like, how does this impact LeBron? Do you see him on the Lakers before? I mean, look, his contract is up after this season. He's 41. I think his health is going to be a huge factor with everything, especially at someone his age and the amount of miles on his body. He's obviously played, for anybody his age, like he's playing at an incredible level. So I don't know where it kind of holds, but certainly as I learned more through my reporting, these things have been going on for a while. It's been a lot. I was standing probably 5 feet away from Magic Johnson when he suddenly resigned from the Lakers. And that remains one of the most, unbelievable is a word that gets thrown around a lot, but that remains one of the most unbelievable moments of my reporting career. But yes, everything from, some of the things you mentioned to certainly to now, and some of the things I've learned about, and very little of them have anything to do with basketball. or with like winning on the court. It's been all these other things. It's been a lot. It's been a lot.
And it definitely has been a lot for Jeanie to carry on her shoulders, because she is carrying that legacy of what her father previously did. Even the fallout with Magic Johnson just quickly resigning before he was about to get fired from that president of basketball operations role that he was in. There's been quite a few things throughout the years that has kind of hurt that branding that the father had built from the 80s, just the Lakers being known as that gold standard franchise. At the end of the day, Jeanie did well. Is that sometimes in life you have to adapt and just evolve. And the NBA right now is almost a multi-billionaire level game. And there's nothing they could really do about it. It's unfortunate because a lot of their childhood identities is surrounded by that purple and gold logo. And we got to remember the human element to this. It would be hard for anyone to shrug off an identity that they spent most of their livelihoods building up until their 40s and 60s, especially when it's tied to a family member. That's the hardest part of it. And there's truly no amount of money that could really alleviate that. And this story shows that to the T. It's across multiple generations, from the youngest brothers all the way up into Jeanie and her 4 older siblings. The childhood memories just being around the Lakers, the father's ambitions. It's a sad and rejoiceful story at the same time, because now they can move on. They can actually be free to build their own identities. It's just life. You got to evolve. It is what it is. You guys hit up the link in the description below. Check out my NBA True Story playlist. There's plenty of nuanced stories just like this. And until next time, you fellas stay safe. Peace.